In today's video, I'm going to talk about Rashi aspects, which are aspects based on the Rashis. Most people are familiar with aspects based on planets, and those are important, but another part of what's happening astrologically is what the Rashis, or the signs, are doing. And so to see that part, we need to look at Rashi aspects. Rashi aspects belong to the Jaimini school of astrology, which really deals with concrete events that happen or don't happen in our life, things like longevity, degree of wealth, marriage, yes or no, those type of things, number of children. Jaimini deals with all those types of things, and to do those things he uses Rashi aspects, which are aspects based on Rashis. And they're equally important to planetary aspects. If you only use planetary aspects, there's certain things you won't be able to determine. Just likewise, if you only use Rashi aspects, without planetary aspects, there's certain things you won't be able to determine. Both aspects are always happening all the time. So to see the whole picture, we need to look at what both Rashis and their aspects and planets and their aspects are doing. So Rashi aspects are really important. Jaimini covers the Rashi aspects in his first chapter. In this very simple sutra, or brief, I guess is the word, where he says, Avi pasyante rikshani parsprave cha. What that means is the Rashis see what they're facing, or what's in front, and they see at both sides. Now, an aspect, we call it drishti, or pasyanti. That means same as drishti. It means to look or to see. And oftentimes books use this word, pasyanti, instead of drishti for an aspect, whether planetary aspects or whatever. It means the same thing, different word. So the Rashi's aspect the front and the sides, it's both sides. Well, what does that mean? Well, that could mean lots of things, right? That could mean Aries sees the front, what's in front of it, which would be Libra, right? What's in front. And Aries also aspects Pisces and Taurus, which are on its sides. It could mean that. Okay? Or it could mean Aries aspects Libra, and it aspects these sides, Scorpio, or Cancer, and Capricorn. You know, what does it mean? It's hard to know. And the only way to decipher the sutra properly is if one had foreknowledge of the signs and their directions. Okay? There's two schemes of that. One is that fire signs like Aries, Leo, and Sag rule the east. Earth signs rule the south, and so on. That's not the scheme we needed to know to do this. The scheme we have to know is that Aries and Taurus are the east. Okay? In fact, let me stick Aries and Taurus up here for people who aren't familiar with that. Aries. Taurus is here somewhere. And Taurus are the east. And opposite the east, we have Libra and Scorpio, which rule the west. And over here, we have Cancer and Leo that represent the north. And over here we have Capricorn and Aquarius, which represent the south. Then the northeast is Gemini. The northwest is Virgo. The southwest is Sagittarius. The southeast is Pisces. Okay? So that way we have one direction for each sign, which makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Now with this, each sign is 30 degrees of direction. So east, when we say Aries and Taurus is east, that means it's 60 degrees of east. It's not 45. The cardinal directions, east, north, west, and south, get a bigger chunk of space than do the intermediate directions such as northeast. Cardinal directions get 60 degrees, but 2 signs. Intermediate directions get 30 degrees and 1 sign. So something due east, perfectly east, would be right at the Aries-Taurus junction. And something perfectly north would be at the Cancer-Leo junction. Okay? Once we know these directions, we can start to figure out the aspects. Okay? And this is a traditional way. In fact, this chart, this South Indian chart, is written the way it is due to the directions. Now, we of course go northeast, or we read the directions this way, northeast, southwest. The South Indian chart goes northeast, southwest. It does it in the opposite way. The reason it does that is because we're dealing it from the heavens point of view, looking at us. So just like in a mirror where everything flips, if you're in the heavens and looking down, everything flips. Okay? But north is where the sun is in the summer, when it's more towards the north, when the sun is far north. South is where the sun is during the winter solstice, where the sun is in the far south, like around Christmas time. Okay? East is where this is when during the equinox the sun rises right on the as due east as possible. Okay, so this is an equinox point. And west is the autumnal equinox. And of course, south is the winter solstice. And north is the summer solstice. Okay, which are those points. Okay, now, so that's why, we have this chart, believe it or not. It's been dependent on these directions. And in Brihad Parashar, he literally tells us to draw a chart with these directions for using the Rashi aspects. In Brihad Parashar, he tells us to use the South Indian chart for Rashi aspects, because that's really what it's made for directions and Rashi aspects. Now, we're used to seeing north on top. In Hindus, they always put east on top. Okay? And north over here, depending on what direction, what kind of chart they're using. But east is always on top. So now that we know the directions, this will make more sense. And knowing it with this chart. Now it becomes rather easy. First thing, Abhi Pasyante. It's aspecting the one it's facing. Well, what sign is Aries facing? Aries is facing Scorpio, right? Isn't that perfectly facing? And Taurus is facing Libra. And indeed, those 2 points aspect each other. Aries aspects Scorpio, and Taurus aspects Libra. So now we know there's something to this aspect. And first, Jamie wants us to figure out this first part of the sutra. And we go, well, Aries is aspecting what it's facing. Aries is aspecting Scorpio. Well, there's something going on here. Aries is ruled by Mars. Scorpio is ruled by Mars. Cool, right? Also, Aries is a movable sign. Scorpio is a fixed sign. So we have a difference here, movable and fixed. So now we understand that. Okay? And then he says, and both sides. Well, Aries, the sides of the east direction are the north and south direction. So east direction aspects the north direction and the south direction. But there's 2 signs in each direction, so which one aspects which? Well, let's see. If we take the east, which is Aries, and we go to this side, we have a choice of Cancer north or Leo north. Which one should we take? We should follow the precedent of this facing. Aries takes the fixed sign. So Aries over here can take movable Cancer or fixed Leo. What's it going to take? It's going to take fixed Leo. So Aries aspects Leo. Then over here, Aries can aspect on the south side, Capricorn or Aquarius. Which one? Well, it's going to do the movable. It's not going to do the movable, which is Capricorn. It's going to do the fixed sign, which is Aquarius. So Aries actually aspects Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Those are the 3 signs it aspects. How about Taurus? Well, Taurus is movable, and he's aspecting. Taurus is a fixed sign, and he's aspecting the movable sign. Okay? So, when we go to the north direction, Aries or Taurus will aspect Cancer, because Taurus is fixed, so it aspects movable Cancer. And Taurus is fixed, so on the south it will aspect movable Capricorn. So the movable sign ends up aspecting the fixed signs on the front and both sides. But a person had to do a lot of studying to figure that out. Months, weeks worth of work to figure that out. And that's how Jaimini makes every sutra. And that's why Jaimini is so controversial, because with sutras like this, people will come up with different things. Okay? But the one sutra everyone agrees on is this. No one has any differences of opinion about this. Which is a shame, because there's a lot of information held in this sutra and this diagram that deserve some profound thought. So I hope you guys really study this and consider what I said so far, because there's a mystery crouched in there that I want you guys to figure out all on your own. Okay, getting to the dual signs. Northeast is going to aspect the direction it faces, which is southwest. So Gemini does indeed aspect Sagittarius. Okay. Now Gemini, what's unique about that? Well, Gemini is a dual sign. What's a dual sign? It's a mix of movable and fixed. So Gemini, which is movable and fixed, aspects Sagittarius, which is movable and fixed. Alright, that makes sense. Now Gemini has to aspect its side direction, southeast and southwest, which it does. And it's again, Gemini, which is a dual sign, movable and fixed, aspects Virgo, which is movable and fixed. So always we have a movable aspecting a fixed. And even within dual signs, which are movable and fixed, part of the dual sign is movable, and part of the dual sign is fixed. And when we go into exact aspects, you'll see the movable part of the dual sign will aspect the fixed part of the other dual sign. Okay, so it's really cool. So, does everyone understand? Okay, so that's the premise behind the aspects. Think about that, study these charts, and consider it. There's a lot of deep knowledge in this whole thing, because this is the astronomy of where it comes from. So what we end up having, the easy way to remember Rashi aspects, is movable signs aspect fixed signs. Okay? Except the fixed sign next to it. So Aries is movable, and its aspects Leo, Scorp, and Aquarius, the fixed signs, but not Taurus, the fixed sign next to it. Okay? Then Cancer aspects, not Leo, the fixed sign next to it, but instead Scorpio, Aquarius, and Taurus, the fixed signs that are not next to it. And it's that way for every fixed sign and every movable sign. So movable signs aspect fixed signs. So work out and make a table of that for yourself. And dual signs are really easy. A dual sign aspects all the other dual signs. So Gemini aspects, Pisces aspects Gemini, Virgo, and Sag. Sag aspects Gemini, Virgo, and Pisces, whatever. So these four corners all aspect each other. And so it's really a beautiful diagram when we use the South Indian chart when it comes to Jaimini astrology and Rashi aspects. And that's why I use this chart personally, because I do so much Jaimini. It's just easier with this chart. Though for other techniques, the North Indian chart is better designed for, and so sometimes I'll pull that out and we'll use that. Okay, so there we have our aspects. Okay? I'm going to erase this. Okay, so those are the aspects of the signs. And anything in the sign aspects is aspected as well. So let's say I've got Mars in Aries and Sun in Leo. Aries aspects Leo and Leo aspects Aries. Rashi aspects are always a two-way street. They're always going both directions. They're always mutual. Not so for planetary aspects. Okay? So Aries aspects Leo And Leo aspects Aries. Aries has the sun, which means Aries has Mars, which means Mars is influencing Leo. Leo has the sun, so the sun is also influencing Aries. And the sun is influencing Libra, which it aspects, and the sun influences Capricorn, which it aspects as well. So a planet in the sign aspects the same way. The planet itself is not causing the exact aspect. What's happening is Leo has the sun in it. So Leo becomes hot and dry and very stable and very consistent. That's the nature of Leo with the sun in it. And that consistency is going to be brought over to and influence Libra, where now this Libra is a very much more fixed, much less roving orientated, much more territorial Libra than your normal naked Libra. Okay? And because this sign changes, because Leo is changed by the sun, when Leo aspects the other Rashis, it changes them as well. Okay? So a planet in the Rashi aspects likewise. That's an important thing to know. One thing we have to know. So the planets aspect due to the Rashi. It's not the planet doing it. The Rashi's doing it. And the Rashi's bringing with it the influence of any planets in it. Okay? Now astronomically, let's consider this a little bit more in the form of a circle. It's a little easy sometimes to see if we do it around. Okay, I'm going to just draw north, east, south, west, the compass, just like we're used to seeing. Okay, now we learned that Cancer and Leo are north, right? That Aries and Taurus are east. That Capricorn and Aquarius are south. That, let's see, Libra and Scorpio are west, right? Okay, and that northeast is Gemini. Northwest is Virgo. And so what is this? Southwest is Sagittarius. And southeast is Pisces. Okay? Now, there's a lot to this diagram. Okay? This diagram explains astrology, why it works. Because these directions are based on the chakras. Okay? Here we have this equinoctial axis type thing. This east-west point line is your midsection. So when you bend, you get this line in your tummy, right? That's this. Everything above that line is north. Everything below that line is south. So here on the south we have Saturn signs, which represent the earthly root chakra. Okay? So that's one chakra. Up here, moving north a little bit, moving up, we get the sexual chakra ruled by Jupiter, the water element chakra. Move up a little bit more, we get to about here, we get the navel chakra ruled by Mars, the chakra of fire. We move above the midline, and we get to the heart chakra ruled by Venus, and that's the domain of air. Move up higher, we get to the throat chakra, which is the domain of ether, and those signs are ruled by Mercury. Okay? Then we move up here to the third eye chakra, ruled by the sun and moon. Okay, so when we're talking about these directions in the signs, we're literally talking about the directions mapped out in our chakra system, with Cancer and Leo being the third eye chakra, Capricorn and Aquarius being the root chakra, and everything else being in between. And there's just a lot going on here with respect to exaltations and etc. For instance, In an enlightened person, the energy flows between heart and third eye. It's like this. Okay, this is where the energy is flowing most of the time. Rarely does the energy flow below the heart chakra in any sizable amount. Okay, and that's why they have complete control over their appetite and their desire nature, and they have no fear, because the energy is not revolving around the root chakra, where security, which is a security chakra, the creative sexual chakra, or the hungry, I need food chakra. Okay, because they're energized by forces without, beyond themselves. So instead, the energy revolves around between the heart chakra and the third eye chakra. Okay? Now most people, the energy revolves around root chakra and navel chakra, and rarely even goes into the heart chakra. Those are the people who are the most unhappy. They just have this little microcosm going on here, right? What happens with exaltation? We take Saturn and we put it in the heart chakra. Isn't that cool? Now Saturn's in the heart chakra getting exalted. Then we take Jupiter and we drop it in, the Cancer, where it's exalted in the third eye chakra. Now we have a nice flow up here. Isn't that cool? And then we take Mars, which rules the navel chakra, where we burn food and get our food, is down here in the earth chakra. So Mars does what is required for the body to survive, and that's the end of it. And that's why Mars, is exalted in Capricorn, a feminine sign, because it's not an aggressive position. It's a survival position of defense and providing, not and mothering. It's a female position. So we can play around with that all day long and play around with these exaltations and debilitations, and you should, to help you understand how your chakras are working with astrology. That's just a couple really quick examples. It's not the purpose of this class, but you guys should consider things in light of that. Whenever you're looking at a chart, you're looking at what's happening in the chakras. That's literally what you're doing based on this chakra map. Okay? If somebody has Jupiter in Gemini, it means they have Jupiter in their throat chakra. Okay? That's what it means. Okay? When a person has their moon debilitated, it means they have their moon in their navel chakra. Okay? So, study all that. Now, Cancer to Aquarius is all ruled by the moon. That's the lunar nadi. And Leo through Capricorn is ruled by the sun. That's the solar nadi, which are the two rising and descending currents in the spine. So those of you familiar with yoga philosophy can think about that too. All right, now to the point of the class. What does this have to do with Rashi aspects? Well, that's the cool part. The Rashi aspects are based on directions. So, as we talked about, Leo aspects Taurus, Libra aspects Taurus, Scorpio aspects Aries, Sag aspects Pisces, Virgo aspects Gemini. Isn't that a neat little arrangement? Capricorn and Aquarius don't aspect, Libra and Scorpio don't, Taurus and Aries, and Cancer and Leo don't, because they're the signs right next to each other, right? So we have these cross aspects. We have aspect, 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 and aspect. Now we have our up and down aspects. Virgo to Sag, Leo to Capricorn, Cancer to Aquarius, Gemini to Pisces. Okay? But again, these two don't aspect and these don't because they're the same direction. Okay? Same directions don't aspect because if you're, it's like you can't aspect yourself. Okay? Then we have cross directions. Okay? Where Gemini aspects Sag, Virgo aspects Pisces, Leo aspects Aries, and Cancer aspects Taurus. Okay? Libra aspects Aquarius, Scorpio aspects Capricorn. Alright, so there's a really messy map of all the ways the Rashi aspects are aspecting and pulling your chakras together. Meaning, this is the way your chakras are actually interacting with each other. Scorpio is interacting with this. So your navel chakra is interacting with your root chakra through Scorpio and Capricorn. And for those of you who are in the chakra studies, you right away already have some conclusions from that, don't you? Okay? I'm not here to teach chakra philosophy. I'm just showing you how it works out astrologically. Maybe at some point we'll get more into chakra philosophy. So, draw this out and study it. And try to understand these Rashi aspects and what's happening here. There's a lot to be learned from that. Then consider how this works astronomically. So you've got this map. Now how is this working astronomically? Okay, because our chakras are just a microcosm of the astronomical whole around us. Okay? So this is what the Rashi aspects are based on. Okay. So now we know the Rashi aspects, we know what they're based on, and we have lots of food for thought. You know, you can spend countless hours studying those chakras and diagrams and thinking about planets ruling this chakra and what that means, and you'll learn a lot from it. And everything you learn will come from your insight, so I really suggest you do that as much as you have time for. Okay. Sometimes we need to know if a Rashi aspect is exact. You don't need to know it for reading the birth chart. You don't need to use it for Gemini astrology. For Gemini, you just need to know that Aries and Jupiter, which is in Aries, is aspect in Leo, and it's aspect in Scorpio, and it's aspect in Aquarius. That's all you need to know. But if you're using Rashi aspects in transits, you need to know that, but you also need to know when is a Rashi aspect exact. Okay? Now, a planetary aspect, in fact, let's do a comparison here. Okay, Rashi aspects are green. And actually in Kala, on the animated transits, Rashi aspects are green. Those are the green lines you'll see there, if you have the Rashi aspects selected. Alright, planetary aspects. If I have a planet at 10 degrees of Aries, okay, the Sun, it's going to exactly aspect a planet at, say, Saturn at 10 degrees Libra. At that point, they're exactly 180 degrees apart, and it's exact. In between these 2 points, it'll be stronger or weaker. When we're dealing with transits, for instance, it's these exact aspects that we need to know. When the Sun is exactly opposite Saturn, that's when it's going to trigger Saturn. Okay? Or let's say it's Jupiter. Let's say Jupiter is at 10 degrees of Aries. Well, Jupiter's exact aspect is going to be when it's to Saturn at 10 degrees, but also be exact to Venus at, say, 10 degrees Leo, or a planet that's at 10 degrees of Sagittarius. Those are Jupiter's exact aspect. So, an exact aspect happens in planetary aspects when the planets are exact same degree of their sign, like 10 degrees in this example. Just like a conjunction. A conjunction happens when Jupiter would be at 10 degrees Saturn, it would be exactly conjunct Saturn. But Rashi aspects are different. Okay? Let's say we've got Jupiter at 10 degrees, Jupiter at 10 degrees of Leo, or Aries, whatever sign we're in. Jupiter is going to Rashi aspect Leo, and it's going to Rashi aspect Aquarius, and it's going to Rashi aspect Scorpio, those 3 signs. But it's not going to exactly aspect them at something at 10 degrees. Okay, let's put Venus at 7 degrees of Leo. Okay, put Mars at 18 degrees of Scorpio. Actually, I'll put Mars at 20 degrees of Scorpio. And I'm going to put the Moon at 14 degrees of Aquarius. And let's say we got transiting Jupiter moving through Aries. Okay? To do the easy one first, Jupiter's transiting through Aries. When Jupiter is looking across exactly at Scorpio, at Mars, that's when Jupiter is going to be aspecting Mars exactly. It's easier to see if you go like this. But Mars is at 10 degrees, which is exactly 2/3 into the sign. So where does Jupiter have to be from Aries to look straight across and look right there? He has to be right here, right? Jupiter has to be at 10 degrees of Scorpio to exactly aspect a planet, or excuse me, 10 degrees of Aries to exactly aspect a planet at 20 degrees of Scorpio. Got it? Because it's the same, it's looking exact. The way to look at that, it's equidistant from one of the points. What are the points? The points are the junctions of movable and dual. Movable Aries, dual Taurus. This is a point, a line. These are the four cardinal lines of the directions. This is the east, this is the north, west, and south. This planet at 20 Scorpio is 20 degrees this direction from west. So a planet 20 degrees that direction from east will aspect it exactly. Okay, so that's when Jupiter aspects this planet at 20 degrees exactly. Okay? When is Jupiter going to aspect a planet at 7 degrees of Leo exactly with Rashi aspect? Well, Venus at 7 Leo is 7 degrees on this side of its border. So when Jupiter's 7 degrees this direction, it's the aspect. And that'll be when Jupiter's at 23 degrees of Aries. At that point, Jupiter will be making an exact Rashi aspect to Venus. When Jupiter is at, when is it going to exactly aspect Aquarius? Well, Aquarius is 14 degrees this direction from the sign, right? From this intersection, Moon's going 14 degrees up here. So when Jupiter's 14 degrees back, which means when he's at 16 degrees of Aries, he'll make an exact aspect to that moon. Okay, so it gets tricky. You have to take it from those lines. And those lines are always, basically you're taking planets that are equidistant from the cardinal points, these lines, okay, the east, north, south, and west lines, where there's a conjunction of movable and dual. So you're always seeing how far separated it is. So if we go here, Aries, these two signs don't aspect, right? But here, now the planet in Gemini, or Verb Pisces aspects the planet in Gemini. The planet at 29 Pisces aspects the planet at 1 degrees of Gemini. Then as they go out, say they go out 10 more degrees, this planet's at 11 aspects the planet at 19. The planet at 1 degrees of Pisces is aspected perfectly, exactly by the planet at 29 of Gemini. So we see we just move out, aspect, 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 exact aspect as we move out. And we do that from all the points. We do it from here, and we do it from here, from all these cardinal points. The other place we have these these conjunctions of movable and fixed, which is what Jamie aspects are based on, are through these signs. Okay, so going this way, we have I might have made a mistake over here with Jupiter and Aquarius, and I'll get back to that in a minute. Let's say we got a planet at 5 Cancer. It's going to aspect the planet at 25 of Taurus, because they're both the same far equidistant from this movable and dual conjunction, which is the middle of the dual sign. Dual signs are a combination of movable and fixed, right? So right in between them is where they shift from movable to fixed or whatever. Okay? So the first half of Gemini is the fixed sign, is fixed. Second half is movable. Okay? And that's your border. So 5 degrees into this sign equals 25 degrees into this sign, or 5 degrees back. So it'd be tricky to see that, this planet at 5 degrees Cancer is Rashi aspecting exactly something at 25 Taurus. But that's actually where it's happening. It's not Rashi aspecting something perfectly that's at 5 degrees Taurus. This is a little tricky at first on your eyes. But work with this and just play with this a little bit and look for these exact Rashi aspects. In the animated transits tool in Kala, it does all this automatically for you, so you can see when the aspects happen exactly. So you want to, but you still want to understand it because sometimes you'll still need to find it yourself to see if it's exact. Okay? So the same way that when we had the circle out, remember that chart I just threw down there is just the chakra circle. Okay? But chakras really aren't a circle, they're more like this, right? Okay? We have Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio. Did I draw it the other way last time? Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini. Okay. And these are chunks of space here. So the planet at 2 Taurus is going to aspect the planet at 28 Libra. And this is what's happening. If we say the planet at 2 Taurus aspects the planet at 2 Libra, the line goes like this. That's not what we want. We want the line to go like this. So all these points basically are aspecting each other perfectly. Whatever point we take going across is a Rashi aspect. It's something happening in your zodiac, in your chakras. Same going the other directions as I showed before. So again, just to get a better visual of why we're doing it that way. The planet at 25 Gemini aspects the planet at 5 Virgo, because it's going this way. Not the planet at 25 Virgo, but at 5 Virgo. And that's how you do the exact Rashi aspects. When do we use those? Well, the only time I use them, though there might be other times we should use them that I haven't thought about, is in transits. When I want to see when a planet is going to trigger an event based on a transit, based on a Rashi aspect. Okay? And for that you have to know this. Okay, so there's some new things on Gemini Rashi aspects I didn't cover in the first Gemini audio course that will help you in the transit course, and which also will help you if you think about it with lots of other things when you think about the chakras a lot and all that stuff. Okay, that should do it. Thank you.